So today we got two of the most powerful and my personal favorite Jedi going head to head. Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Mace Windu. Who wins? Well, let's find out. Obi-Wan Kenobi was a Jedi Knight who was instructed by Qui-Gon Jinn, and he himself taught Anakin Skywalker. Both Kenobi and Anakin fought in the Clone Wars, which led to Anakin turning to the dark side and betraying the Order. Obi-Wan hid on the planet Tatooine, where he watched over Anakin's son Luke, whom he began to train to be a Jedi like his father once was. So today we're going to be using Obi-Wan Kenobi from Episode 3. Just to clarify, Obi-Wan Kenobi is a very skilled fighter and one of the greatest lightsaber duelists of all time. In contrast to other fighting styles, Obi-Wan usually fought from a defensive stance, where he would use more aggressive attacks when pressed. He's an expert in Form 3 of lightsaber fightings, otherwise known as Surisu. It was created to counter blaster fire and utilizes tight moves, subtle dodges, efficient parries, and maximizes defensive coverage. It was designed to minimize the body's exposure, which makes the fighting style perfect against blasters and lightsabers, single enemies, and multiple opponents. Obi-Wan has been able to defeat Darth Maul, General Grievous, and Anakin Skywalker, and hold his own against Count Dooku and Darth Maul and Savage Opress at the same time. Though Obi-Wan focused larger on lightsaber combat, he's also very skilled in using the Force. He's exceptional using a Force push, and is able to send General Grievous flying, defeat a lot of droids with a Force push, and match Anakin Skywalker during the duel on Mustafar. He's also able to use the Force to augment his leaping ability and levitate or crush objects. Then in the other corner of Mace Windu. Jedi Master Mace Windu was a well-known Jedi Knight of the Republic. He was a member of the Jedi High Council, and he was a Master of the Order. He was the second most powerful Jedi and duelist on the Council during the Clone Wars, second only to Yoda. He uses a purple lightsaber, which means that he uses both the light side and the dark side of the Force, while still remaining on the light side. Mace Windu was a highly accomplished and powerful Jedi Master, who was formidable in both lightsaber combat and Force abilities. Windu is a practitioner of Form 7, which is considered to be the most aggressive and unpredictable form. It was filled with fury and had a heavy focus on offense, being designed to eviscerate an enemy in the one-on-one lightsaber combat. However, this form of fighting also led the user dangerously close to the dark side due to its focus on physical combat and required the wielder to enjoy the fight and relish in the satisfaction of winning. Mace Windu was an excellent fighter, being able to even battle and momentarily defeat Darth Sidious, the Dark Lord of the Sith. He was also highly adept at deflecting incoming blaster shots and used a more defensive stance to counter these blasts. As a Force user, Mace Windu was especially proficient at telekinesis, used both for offensive and defensive purposes. He was usually seen pulling opponents in his direction and render them vulnerable to a fatal lightsaber strike. He also used the connection to the Force to augment his physical abilities in order to land incredible jumps or perform acrobatic maneuvers. So who wins? Well, let's break it down. Now, both of these are expert fighters, and really, neither one of them should be underestimated. It's been said that Mace Windu was the second most powerful Jedi in the Jedi Order, but Obi-Wan actually has a lot more feats and fought against powerful opponents. So I would say they're actually more equal than you think. And Windu's greatest feat is battling and momentarily defeating Darth Sidious. Although, it's been confirmed that Windu was amped in that fight, and you can also make a strong argument that Palpatine actually let Mace knock him down in order to make himself look helpless and get Anakin Skywalker to turn. This can be seen by the fact that he was whimpering at one point, and then the very next moment he was shouting unlimited power. Now we've also got to look at their different fighting styles and how those match up. Kenobi fights with a much more defensive style, Surisu, and it's perfect for battling its single enemies and multiple opponents. Mace Windu, on the other hand, has a very aggressive style of combat, where you actually skirt the line of crossing over to the dark side, and it's designed to quickly overwhelm an opponent. However, this form of fighting can actually quickly tire you out, and since Obi-Wan is such a master of defense, he might be able to just hold on long enough for Windu to tire himself out or exploit an opening. Physically speaking, these guys are pretty much even, or at least close enough to where it wouldn't really matter much a huge difference either way on who is better. And I have to see that's the same with the Force. Both of these guys are skilled in the Force and in combat. I again don't really see it being enough of a difference to affect the outcome of this fight. So this really comes down to fighting skill. Obi-Wan is a much more resourceful fighter, like when he stole Grievous' gun and used it against him, and is a master at using his surroundings, as seen in his fight with Anakin. But I gotta give the slight margin of skill to Mace Windu. He's regarded the second best swordsman in the Jedi Order, only being lesser than Yoda. And while you can make a strong argument that Obi-Wan could be considered to be the third best duelist, We all know that second's better than third. Look at it this way. During Revenge of the Sith, Yoda told Obi-Wan that he wasn't powerful enough to go after Darth Sidious, and that he should go after Anakin instead. And regardless of whether or not Palpatine actually threw the fight with Mace Windu or not, I have to believe that he did, it still holds that before the fight even began, the Jedi believed that Mace Windu was powerful enough to take on the Emperor. Yoda and the other Jedi saw Mace Windu as more skilled than Obi-Wan Kenobi. And if Yoda believes that, then so do I. While this would be one tough fight, and I'm sure Obi-Wan Kenobi would get his fair share of victories, I believe that Mace Windu wins the day. But what do y'all think? I would love to hear your thoughts. Sign off in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe button, where you get this one every single day, and I will see y'all next time.